That's a deep question about fate. When I was born, I was 2 months premature. And I met the doctor who delivered me when I was in my mid-20s. I was born at the Georgetown Hospital in D.C. 2 months premature, weighed about 3 pounds. Born at 3:01 p.m., February 3rd, 1951. And I was pronounced dead. And the nurse was carrying me to the morgue, and I cried. What makes me care so much is the fact that it could be so much different. It could be so much different. And I see mankind imprisoned, and I wrote this in the book. After all the work I've done for 30 years, I'm a detective. I wanted to find, it's like in 1976, 77, I said, or 78, end of 78 when I resigned, I'll kind of put my personal life on hold until I resolve this CIA drugs business. It's got to be just a small mistake. You know, and you keep pulling on the worms, and you keep pulling on, and you keep digging deeper. And what it was for me was a quest to find something that I could put my feet on that was real, that was solid. I guess the part of me that's a digger, the part of me that's a terrier, the part of me who won't quit until he gets an answer, needed to understand what it was. Everybody now has the sense of we're being lied to. I mean, we've been lied to about 401ks, we've been lied to about adjustable rate mortgages, we've been lied to about hedge funds, we've been lied to about stock values. Bernard Madoff lied. We've been lied to about steroids in baseball. We've been lied. Well, maybe we're being lied to about energy. So I don't need that recognition anymore. I don't care if I get on Larry King, because pretty soon people are going to stop listening to Larry King. And this planet is so far out of balance, it is, and it will correct itself. The human race is expendable. The human race can go extinct. Rome thought its civilization could never collapse. The Mayans thought their civilization could never collapse. The Babylonians, the French Empire, the Spanish Empire, the British Empire, the Soviet Union, they all collapsed. Well, the human race is expendable. Life will go on. There are a lot of people who are going to perish based upon their belief that, for example, building more big hotels in Las Vegas is going to bring the tourists back. I heard the mayor of Las Vegas say that on TV. Holy shit, that's Easter Island. You know, the mayor's on, they've got mega hotels being constructed where they have stopped construction because of lack of funding and the collapse, and the mayor's saying, we got to build bigger hotels. People who believe I can't save them. What will the final outcome be? I don't know. It's a movie. And it's a movie we're all living in. We don't know whether the movie has a happy ending, a sad ending. We don't know whether everyone dies. We certainly know it's impossible for everybody to continue to live and keep consuming the way that we have. All of the resources on this planet, the fresh water, the food, and everything else. So we don't know how it's going to end. And I guess now, that's another reason why I feel so relieved. I'm at a point where I feel that I can take my chair in the theater and watch the rest of this movie and participate in it and play my part along with everybody else. One of the reasons why I know I'm going to live for a while is that the prayer that I've come to at my stage of spiritual development is, Mother Earth, Father Sky, may I please know love, peace, joy, and happiness in equal measure to the pain, suffering, and loss of my life, so that I may achieve balance before I die. I want to leave balanced. That means I don't have to fucking come back. There are a lot of things operating now that really remind me of the parable of the scorpion and the turtle. And I use this specifically, and I throw this accusation directly at both Wall Street and the United States government. There's a turtle sitting on a riverbank, like by the Rio Grande, you know, nice sunny day, turtle's just hanging out. Up walks the scorpion. Scorpion says to the turtle, hey man, can you take me across the river? Turtle says, are you out of your mind? You're a scorpion. You're going to sting me. I'll die. I know. Go away. Scorpion says, no, man, I need to get across the river, and if I sting you, I'll drown. I can't swim. Turtle's got to think about it. And he says, well, all right. Hop on. Scorpion hops on. Turtle swims halfway out in the middle of the river, and just as he gets to the deepest part, the scorpion stings the turtle right in the neck. Turtle looks up at the scorpion and says, man, why did you do that? Now we're both going to die. Scorpion says, I couldn't help it. I'm a scorpion. It's my nature. I will cry and grieve over the pain that I see. My heart aches for the people who have already lost homes and jobs, who are living in tent cities, who are homeless. You know, I saw a report that was prepared for the World Bank. It was a story about a report that said in 2009, more than 90 million people were expected to die of starvation. I can only accept that as a part of life. I can only embrace that as a part of all things in nature on this plane of existence. There is a birth, there is a death, there is a beginning, there is an end, and there is always a restoration of some kind of balance. I cannot judge it, nor can I try to prevent it. What I can do is to try to help people achieve or acquire their own understanding of what the challenges are, and give them what little I have learned in my path so that they can make the best use of it possible. So in order for the United States to address this crisis, this challenge, it's necessary to re-examine government. And here I have to go back to Thomas Jefferson, who said it's necessary to have a revolution every generation. Rewrite the Constitution every generation. That's the only way you will be able to preserve your liberty, is by challenging it and challenging your mind to redefine it on a regular basis. Well, we're long overdue for that. And it is inevitable as part of this collapse that we will have another constitutional convention. We will have to look at the way our government is structured. And it may not even be possible for the United States to remain united. And you know what? Our Constitution even provides for that. We can redefine ourselves anytime we choose to, and that's something that has been hidden from us in plain sight. It's our fundamental right as Americans. We just have been a little lazy. You know what else I think, too? That Earth is the place where they stuck all the emotional, spiritual misfits and kindergartners so we couldn't fuck up the rest of the universe. That's why we're not getting off the planet. We won't release ourselves from this planet until we're grown up enough not to foul up the rest of the playground. The biggest things that I can remember that I was incorrect about was, one, that there would be a draft. I was certain of that. The draft was avoided by green card enlistments, in other words, foreign nationals who came in, joined the military on the promise that they would get a citizenship. Economic collapse drove people out of the workforce. They couldn't find anything else to do. And so we didn't need a draft, but boy, back in 2004, it sure looked inevitable in 2005. I was wrong about that. I was wrong about the date when the markets would implode. I was off by about a year and a half. But it all happened exactly the way I said it was going to happen. And, you know, Ted Williams only had to bat 400 to be the best in baseball. Does that mean that because Ted Williams didn't bat 1,000, he wasn't to be taken seriously? Economically, we need feed-in tariffs. Oh, do we need feed-in tariffs, where it is guaranteed that if you put solar or wind on your house and you generate more electricity than you use, it will be bought back by the grid at 3–4%, whatever, above market rates. That means no one can lose money on investing in locally generated power in your house, in your business, in your place of work. It's worked fantastically in Germany. We need to do the same thing with food. Composting toilets provide some of the best fertilizer in the world. But what else do they do? And they're very sanitary, actually. They don't smell bad. But they also save those 1, 2, 3, 4 gallons that you waste every time you flush a toilet of fresh water, because we're also running out of water. They also save sewer lines because the infrastructure is falling apart and we don't have the money to fix the sewers. Solve 3 problems all at once with composting toilets. He stood up and he was talking about the war on drugs. And what Joe McNamara said, I saw this at a conference at SC, where I was to lecture on Wall Street's war for drug money just about a year later. He said, you know, when Richard Nixon started the war on drugs in 1972, the annual budget was like $50 million. Today, the annual budget for the war on drugs is $20 billion, and yet today there are more drugs in the country, they're less expensive, and they're of better quality than they were in 1972. Just let that sink in for a minute. One of the most important tools to help people survive is to re-legalize, decriminalize the growing of the hemp plant, marijuana. In World War II, the United States government plastered walls with posters that said, "Hemp for victory." And marijuana growing was encouraged all over the United States. It was subsidized. Why? Because the hemp plant produces rope. It can be made into cloth, and clothing can be made from it. It produces lubricating oils. It produces vitamins and nutrients. Drop the things that aren't working. The marijuana plant is one of the sturdiest plants around. You take care of it, you can grow it almost anywhere. It grows better in some places than others, but it's sturdy, and it's a source of food and fuel and fiber. And yeah, a little means to get high too. You know, so what? I don't care if the corporate beverage companies who want to keep marijuana illegal need to keep their stock prices up. Why make a plant that can help save millions of lives illegal? Everything is on the table. Until you start to learn how to think outside the box, you won't see the solutions that are right at your feet. Literally. There's an Indian parable of the 4 blind men and the elephant. And the 4 blind men come across an elephant, and one blind man grabs the elephant's trunk and says, "Oh, an elephant is very much like a snake." And the second blind man grabs the elephant and says, by the ear, and says, "Oh, you are wrong. An elephant is very much like a leaf. You are sadly mistaken." And the next blind man grabs the elephant by the leg and says, "You are both crazy. An elephant is like a tree." And the fourth one grabs the elephant by the tail and says, "You are all infidels. I must kill you all. An elephant is like a rope." Well, the elephant is God. God doesn't change. The elephant has no debate about who or what it is or how it functions or anything else. And if I were to describe the whole basis of my spiritual philosophy, it would be that I have a direct connection with the elephant. People should learn how to garden, and you know what, this is really happening all over the country, and God bless the Obamas. They've got an organic garden. They've started at the White House, and they really flipped the bird, forgive me, Mr. President and Mrs. First Lady, to Monsanto and all of the agribiz companies that are doing, Frankenfoods and everything else, they got an organic garden in the White House. They're setting an example. Everybody should learn from that. Because food, if it doesn't come locally, you're going to starve.